to our new season of Warhammer 40,000, Season 2, 2014. And we're back on the hillside again. It's the wooded hillside with a dried out river. And then coming around, the Imperial Guard have been digging in. There's a compound at the back here, sandbag defence, and then as you move up the table, tank traps and obstacles as well as you push on into the woods. So this today is an episode of Challenge the Scorpion. So instead of playing James, we'll be playing different players today. It's Will Warick. He's bringing Imperial Guard and Blood Angel allies, and they'll be facing off against the Eldar today on this table. Right, welcome to 1850 points. Eldar versus Imperial Guard and Blood Angels allies. So run through my Eldar list here. It's one that you're familiar with. For HQ, taking the Eldar Avatar. And then just two troops choices, 2 units of jet bikes. And then the Fire Dragons, they're in the Wave Serpent. They've got an Exarch there with Fire Pike. And then coming across, we've got a unit of 10 Striking Scorpions with the Striking Scorpion Exarch with Scorpion's Claw. And then they are in a Wave Serpent with twin-linked scatter lasers. And then the Harlequins are still in there with the Troop Master and Shadow Seer. And then there's 4 Harlequins Kisses in there as well. Wraith Knight is back. He has to be taken in this list. That's with the Sun's Cannon and a Scatter Shield, and has also paid points for a Scatter Laser as well. 2 Wraith Lords with Flamers and Bright Lances and the Ghost Glaive Sword. And then finally Warp Spiders with the Exarch Power Blades and Fast Shots. So that's the army, 1850 points. They'll be facing off against Will's Guard and Blood Angels.
Right, so this is my 1850 points Guard and Blood Angels. Leading this on we have Commissar Warick, and then over to my other HQ choice here. We've got a company command squad with 3 veterans, 2 with sniper rifles, 1 with a plasma gun, a Voxcaster, 2 bodyguards and a master of ordnance. And then troop choices, we have 1 platoon here, which is 2 flamers, a heavy flamer. In the back we have a flamer, a melter gun and Voxcasters in both squads. Then over here we've got the same again, only there's a grenade launcher in there instead of flamers. And then at the back we've got an Aegis defence line, but taking the AA gun as an upgrade. A Basilisk with camo netting, and then a Vendetta. And then the allies, we have a Librarian who's upgraded to the level 2. He also has a plasma pistol. Then a tactical squad with no upgrades, 10 men. And a 10-man assault squad with a power fist and plasma pistol. And lastly, finishing it off, we have a 5-man Devastator squad with 4 las cannons.
Prickly army.
Well, let's hope so.
I've never played against Basilisk before and haven't played against a Vendetta, so it's going to be interesting. And that Blood Angel allies, they look tough. There's a lot of nasty stuff in there. So we'll move on to scenario and deployment now for these 2 forces. Right, deployment. The scenario is Crusade. There's 5 objectives in this game, each one's worth 3 points. And deployment is Vanguard Strike, so playing diagonally. So you can see a central line there marking the centre of the table. On the right hand side, the Eldar will be deploying, and then on the left, it's worked out really well, Will is deploying on the left hand side in the compound here, marked by those green dice. Now for objectives, he's placed 1 right in the middle of the compound. Nice and predictable. Then there's 1 in the middle of the road, and he's also put 1 just in the woods here, just there. And then for the Eldar, there's 1 down in the dried riverbed, and then the final objective is just up on the hillside. So 5 objectives, and we'll move on to deployment. Will's going to deploy first and take the first turn, unless the Eldar can steal the initiative. So it will be a challenge for the Eldar. It's an unknown quantity this time. We're taking the standard list, but Will's brought a new army. There's going to have new tactics, new units. So it'll be interesting to see how the Eldar list performs. We're used to fighting against James, but now we're going into unknown territory against a new player. And just to add, James is here as well. He said that he's brought some painting along to do. He's brought some Liam Russes to paint, but he's actually going to be watching Will the whole time and picking up tactics, no doubt, to add to his own Imperial Guard.
Thank you.
And Will's list really contains a lot of what James's list is missing. He's got Warick, which I've been trying to persuade James to use for a long time. Will's got a Vendetta as well. It's the first time we played against one of them. And he's taken the artillery. He's got a Basilisk and Space Marine allies. All the things really that we've been saying to James he should do. Right, Eldar deployment. One of the jet bike squads is just tucked in the corner here. We've had to deploy it just so that we've got half of our force on the table. One Wraith Knight's just up in the woods, just getting a cover save looking out up the table there. And then down in the riverbed, just cutting off a bit of line of sight and just getting ahead really with this angle, pushing up the table. The Avatar's there, Wraith Lord just in front, behind cover, and then the unit of Harlequins as well. You can see on the table, the only opposition really is this well-placed Devastator squad with those las cannons. Just going to have to put up with firepower from those and hope we get night fighting perhaps as the game begins. And then for Will, he's put his Aegis defence line, just continued the sandbag line and run it all the way down the hillside and down into the riverbed. It's a nice long line of defence for the guard. It's been anchored on the end here by the Blood Angels Devastator squad. Then coming up the hill, the quad gun is set up there, and it's been manned by Warick and his command squad. His other company command squad is there, and then his two platoons behind the barricades. Basilisk is just sitting at the back here. Then on the left is the librarian with the assault squad, and then just in reserve he's got the tactical squad. So the guard are all behind their barricades, nicely tucked away there. Nice painting scheme from Will. It matches his terrain really well. Then in reserve for Will is the Vendetta and then the tactical squad as well. Reserves for the Eldar is one unit of jet bikes and then the Fire Dragons coming on. The Scorpions will be flanking and then the Wraith Knight leaping and bounding on from reserve, and then the Warp Spiders will turn up somewhere, hopefully in the right spot. So that is it for deployment. Going to move on to the first turn of the game. Let's see if the Eldar can steal the initiative. On a roll of a 1, they don't. So it's Imperial Guard turn 1 coming up. Right, Will's going first. He's rolled Princeps of Deceit, so he's shifted these guys 10 inches up the board, so he's going to move on now to his movement on turn 1. Right, movement on turn 1 for the Imperial Guard and Blood Angel allies. They're just sitting still, they're quite happy where they are. And then really Will holds the weight of the objectives. He's just got one in the middle of the compound and one in the woods, and then just one in the middle there, and really they're watching to see what the Eldar are going to do. But the assault squad's moved out. Past his wings of Sanguinius. Psychic Test is moved up here and then bearing down on the Wraith Lord. So we're going to go on to shooting now for Imperial Guard. Right, Imperial Guard shooting on turn 1. Las cannons fired up the table and only got one hit on the Wraith Lord and then failed 2 wounds. So there's no damage been done on the Wraith Lord there. Master of Ordnance fired and scattered off the table. Basilisk fired its first round coming down and killed 3 of the Harlequins, so that's good shooting there. And then the quad gun fired across at the Wraith Lord, but he saved 2 wounds on that one, and then just the assault squad shuffled up another 3 inches, and they fancy taking on the Wraith Lord here. But that is it for Imperial Guard turn 1, so we're going to move on now to Eldar turn 1. The jet bikes are just shifted up 12. We're going to try and move them around to try and grant that cover save. The avatars come out with the Wraith Lord, and they're just moving around to the left hand side of that pillar there, and they're going to start the long march up the table. Harlequins are shifted forwards as well, and then really on the hillside, the Wraith Lord is not going to be able to get away from that squad, and we do fancy his chances, so we're going to move him in, and we're going to have a first clash in close combat on turn 1 already, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. So we're going to move on now to Eldar shooting on turn 1. Right, Eldar shooting on turn 1. We've turbo boosted the jet bikes just up a bit, just claiming the objective, just granting a bit of cover behind this pillar. The avatars shifted up a few inches along with the Wraith Lord, and then the Harlequins rolled a 1 on their run moves. They've just shifted up a bit as well. It's a long walk up the table as they head off towards that Imperial Guard and Blood Angel line. Wraith Lord on the hillside has fired 2 flamers through and has managed to kill 2 of the assault marines, and we'll move on to that charge and combat now as we finish up here on turn 1. Right, it's a good turn from the Wraith Lord on snap fire. He lost one of the plasma pistol guys to get sort of special rule, and then the Wraith Lord piled in, issued a challenge to the Librarian. Librarian accepted, and he activated his sword at strength 10, force weapon, but we rolled a 6 on Deny the Witch, so that stopped that power from going through, and then the Wraith Lord cut the Librarian clean in half. So the rest of the figures are piling around, and that melee will continue as that unit has red first. They're fearless. So we'll move on now to Imperial Guard turn 2, and it'll be interesting to see what reserves arrive on this turn. Turn 2, always interesting and pivotal in the game. Turn 2, the main force is just happy where it is, no movement there, but the Valkyrie has arrived, the Vendetta, and it's bearing down right towards the Wraith Lord in the open, so it's a perfect position there for him, and his potential there is to kill it in 1 turn. The melee continues there, and then the tactical squad hasn't arrived. That's going to come on another turn. So we're going to move on now to shooting for the Imperial Guard. How will that Valkyrie do against this Wraith Lord? Got a feeling really with the Eldar we've got no anti-aircraft defence really, so that Vendetta could be a real thorn in the side as the game goes on. Right, Will's doing well. He's caused 2 wounds on the Wraith Lord here from the Devastator squad, and then the Vendetta is going to try and finish it off. That is his roll to hit, a 5 and 2 6s, and now he's going to roll up for wounds. It's strength 9, toughness 8, so freeze them all. Oh. That'll do. 1 counts, that's a re-roll, but 1 wound is all he needed, so the Wraith Lord is gone. It's been caught in a crossfire and brought down. So shooting for the Imperial Guard, it's been more impressive this turn. As I said, the Devastator squad fired across, caused 2 wounds on the Wraith Lord, and then the Vendetta firing down got the last wound, so that was a good ambush there. Then the quad gun fired down on the Wraith Lord, but he made his saves, and then the squad here firing across, combined with Master of Ordnance, have killed some more of the Harlequins. There's only 3 left in the squad now, and I forgot to activate my Veil of Tears, so they've been caught out there and punished. So it's pretty good shooting from the Guard. They're still waiting ready for the Eldar reserves to turn up. A lot of Eldar units still to come on. We're going to move on now to combat, and there's that combat just at the top of the hillside there. So the Rifle there, he's just issued a challenge and killed the sergeant. But both units are fearless, they're just going to chop away at each other. Rifle gradually swinging that great sword around and bring them down. So that's the end of turn 2 for the Imperial Guard. I can move on now to Eldar turn 2, and we'll see what our reserves come on this turn. It will liven the game up. Right, Eldar turn 2. Another unit of jetbikes arrived, just sitting here, and then the combat on the hillside continues. The Avatar's pushed up the table with the 3 remaining Harlequins, just trying to keep that cover. It's protected us quite well, but not enough. The Harlequins are dropping like flies, sadly. The Wraith Knight's arrived, and he's just jumped on the table 12 inches and just waving as he goes past the Devastator squad. Then just coming along, the Scorpions are flanked in their Wave Serpent. The Wave Serpent's arrived. It's got side armor shot on the Basilisk there, and then the squad has got out from the transport just behind. So the Imperial compound not as safe as it was. There's a lot of firepower there, so we'll see if the Scorpions can weather the storm that no doubt will come their way. So we're going to go on to Eldar shooting now on turn 2. Shooting on turn 2, the Harlequins moved up just an inch again, and gradually moving up the table, and then the Avatar's moved up as well. He got a 5-inch run move. The Wraith Knight fired down, pretty good shooting. Scatter laser got its hits, killed one, and then 7 wounds from the Sun Cannon, but Will passed the whole load and just lost another 2. Past Moraus, the Devastator squad has been badly mauled, but it's still going to hang in there. And then coming across, the Wave Serpent has kept the shield running, but got enough hits and penetration to destroy the Basilisk. That's gone. Then the Scorpions disembarked. They ran an extra 3 inches and then used battle focus to fire down here, and have hammered the squad in the middle. The company commander taking a wound, and then he's lost the Master of Ordnance and a few other figures as well. We're just going to move on now to the combat. There's just one over here to finish off on the hillside, and then it'll be Imperial Guard turn 3. I've just done the combat there. The Wraith Knight's just cut down 2 more Marines. Will got 3 hits there with using his crack grenades, 2 wounds on 6s, but we managed to pass them just about. But it looks like the fate of those is sealed. They're fearless. They're just going to keep fighting. It's typical Blood Angels. They're not going to go away, but it will cost them their heads. So we're going to move on now to Imperial Guard turn 3. We'll see what Will can do in reaction to this Eldar move. Right, Imperial Guard turn 3. Devastator squad has stayed where it is. The heroic stand from those guys. They'll be firing the las cannons. That's pretty obvious what the target will be. And then coming up on the hillside here, the guard line has seen the threat from behind and has moved off from the barricades and heading towards the Scorpions. Now there's flamers in there, there's all sorts of weapons, so he's going to bring down a lot of firepower on that squad. And on the transports there's trouble there, Warick's still commanding the AA gun there, and another squad has just stayed at the barricade. The Vendetta has just pulled back, it's gone into hover mode, and it's just going to sit on patrol across the battlefield there, using its las cannons to pick off targets. I think the Wraith Knight is going to be the subject of some firepower on this turn, and then the tactical squad have failed to turn up again on this turn. So we're going to move on now to Imperial Guard shooting on turn 3. How effective will they be? Will the Scorpions survive? Will that Exarch survive? That's what we want to know. We're just saying we've got no control over the dice. Warick's spanned the quad gun around, got 3 hits, 2 6s penetrated the transport, and I just rolled my jink of 5+ and got a double 5. It's just one of those days the Eldar are pulling out some good rolls. Again, James is sighing. He's meant to be painting, but he's just as involved in this game as Will is. He feels the pain as the Eldar on the rampage here. But we'll see what happens. Will's still got a lot of shooting to do. Right, just doing shooting here. He's got 2 regular flamers and a heavy. We've worked it out. He's going to get 7 with a heavy, and then in total of 10 with the regular. So there's a lot of flames bursting through there. Now we are stealth, but we're not going to get it with template weapons, so Will's going to roll up for these to see what he does. So heavy flamer is strength 5.
So needing
2s. So that's all of them apart from 1. That's a good game. 6 saves. And then he's got strength 4, 10 hits with the regular flamers.
3 this time.
And some pretty good hits there. So a whole load of saves we're going to have to do for these Scorpions.
Another 7.
So the Eldar are going to do well here, or they're not going to do well. We'll see what happens. So heavy flamer saves, 3+. Not bad, we've lost 2. It's a start. And then there's another 7 with the regular flamers. Just 2 Scorpions down. Oh, that's painful, that one will count. So that's another 3 brought down. So it's 5 Scorpions. Half the squad's been brought down by the flamers. That's a good game. And he's still got a whole load of other stuff to fire. So it's a start as he tries to, well, potentially he could wipe out the unit this turn. Right, bad news for the Eldar. We've just rolled up our saves. There's 6, he only fired half the squad, 42 shots. And it was 6 wounds. And I've just rolled that. So the squad is gone and the Exarch is dead. So you only had to fire half the squad, now they're gone. So that's a wipeout. The Scorpions have been destroyed by Imperial Guard fire. So that's satisfying. That's a good display of firepower. Right, Imperial Guard shooting on turn 3. It's a sad day. The Scorpions are gone. It's James there. Now, James isn't playing the game, but he's still satisfied at what has taken place. The squad has fired through, just barking out the orders there. A whole lot of rapid fire shots, with the extra shots as well, and the flamers firing through. Tons of firepower down that gap there, and the squad has gone. The Scorpions have been wiped out. So Imperial Guard are quite happy about that. 1 wound has been dealt out to the Wraith Knight, and that came from the Vendetta. And that is about it. There's a few shots have been fired at the transport vehicle there, the Wave Serpent, but no damage has been done. The shields are still up, so that transport's untouched. But again, I'm just going to say it again, it's a shame the Scorpions are gone. So we're just going to move on now to the combat here. Just this slow chopping away with the Wraith Lord, and then it'll be Eldar turn 3. Just rolled a 6 on the combat there for a save, so no hits from the Wraith Lord, he missed entirely. So it's a drawn combat, and that melee continues up on the hillside there. So Eldar turn 3 coming up, still got reserves to come on. Alright, the Warp Spiders have arrived. Here we go, we want them to land just there. Don't want them going wild. They have gone a bit wild. So we'll have to move that out. It's not going to hit anything, but it might put them out of range, which is annoying. So we'll get that sorted out and deploy the rest of the Eldar. I'm just going to stop for lunch soon. For Eldar, we just eat lambda spread. Just 1 mouthful is enough to keep you going for weeks. But it's... Please put that in the It's Eldar turn 3. The bikes have just shifted up a little bit. These bikes have just moved around. Just trying to pick up saves, keep yourself safe at the back. The dragons have arrived. Just come on the flank here, just trying to finish off the Devastators. And just creeping up the hillside now slipping on the grass. It's the Harlequins and the Avatar. Wraith Knights jump 12 up the hillside. Nothing can stop him as he comes up and looms down, looking into the Imperial Guard compound. That's happened before on our battle reports. Now, without the Scorpions, the transport's just backed off. We're going to try and keep that alive. And then coming around, the Warp Spiders have arrived, deep strike, and landed just in front of the Vendetta. Try and bring that down this turn. So we're going to go into Eldar shooting. There's multiple shooting attacks to go on turn 3. It's a bad day for the Guard. 2 Guard players are just commiserating each other. The jet bikes have just moved up, claiming that objective there. These ones are just hovering around this one. And then just to report on the firepower down here, the Dragons fired through and they killed the last of the Devastator squad. And then this Wave Serpent deactivated the Serpent Shield, fired up at the Valkyrie and brought it down with its firepower there. It had 6 shots and 2 penetrations and a glance. Brought it down. This transport's backed off from the top of the hillside, just trying to stay alive and might be able to pick up the Dragons next turn. And then the Wraith Knight, no cover now, really firing down with the Sun Cannon, causing 1 wound on the anti-aircraft gun and then killing about 10 of the Guard squad here. And then the Warp Spiders landed, just ran a few inches and then fired and brought down 3 of the Guardsmen from in there. And then the last few of the Harlequins just sneaking through the woods, activating the Veil of Tears again. And then the Avatar coming up through the woods as well. There's multiple Eldar units closing in on the Imperial Guard position now. Just charges to do, a few charges to set off here, and then the combats to resolve on this turn. So just assaults here. We've tried to charge him the Wraith Knight. He got a double 1 after taking away the highest dice. So he's failed to go in, and there's no other units that are able to get in there. So all it is just finishing off the combat on the top of the hillside that's been going on since turn 1. As the Wraith Lord has been tied up, but he's slowly chopping his way through the Assault Marines on the hillside. So 2 more Assault Marines have gone, and the melee just continues again. So that's the end of Eldar turn 3. We're going to move on to Imperial Guard turn 4 as we pass the halfway stage of the game. Right, it's Imperial Guard turn 4. Now, it seems a foregone conclusion. Eldar units are on the rampage, but we're going to keep going, and there's a reason why, and that's because Warick is still alive. There's a hero amongst all the Guard down there. We'll see what goes on in amongst the compound. We'll see how well he does. Right, Imperial Guard movement on turn 4. Warick is still manning the quad gun, and then the squads have turned around and are manning the barricades for a final stand. He's not giving up, he's going to keep going. Command squads are just shifting across. Just a bit of reorganisation going on in the compound there as they try and deal with this nightmare coming across the table. Tactical squads arrived and split down into combat squads. One coming on here, the missile launcher in that 5-man squad there, and then one coming on right at the top, moving down on the objective, creating a problem for the Eldar there. So game's not over yet. These are both troop choices, and they're Space Marines. They're not going to be easy to get rid of. So we're going to move on now to Imperial Guard shooting on turn 4. Right, wheels firing. This squad's turned around. These are the ones that hosed down the Chalenge Scorpion. So he's got 42 shots here with the las guns. He's fired all the other bits and bobs, but the las guns are going to fire again now. 21 shots to start off with. Here we go. He wants 4s. So he's got a good result there. That's well above average. And then he wants 4s to wound, or only toughness 3. So we've got to make a fair few saves here.
7 saves.
7 saves. 7 saves are 3+. He's brought down 2. So there's 2 warp spiders gone. Then he's going to do the other 21 shots. 4s to hit. And then 4s to win again. It's going to be enough. That's a lot of wounds.
8.
8 more saves. Will he wipe out this squad? Ah, what? 5 ones. Goodbye. So, Humble Guardsmen have actually done the most damage in this game. They've wiped out the Scorpion. And now the Warp Spiders are dead as well. Will's done well. He's happier. He's happier. Close range, you can't knock the Humble Guard squads. This one's fighter wiped out the spiders. This one's firing through the woods and is going to try and finish off the Harlequins here. He's already killed 1 just with pistols and the grenade launcher. And he's got another 18 shots. His dice is going to roll those up. See if we can get rid of this squad. So it's 4s he needs. So he's got his wounds, just looking for 4s. Ah, he's done it again. Yeah, that'll be enough.
5 saves.
5 saves of 5+. Nope, that's the end of the Harlequins. So that's the end of the Harlequins. And so really, in the game, the worst damage has been dealt out just by Humble Guard squads. With the orders, is what Will does, what Will is doing is using Warick with that 12-inch command radius. And he's issuing effective orders from within the compound, and then the firing's coming out, clearing out my infantry squads. So that's effective from the guard. So there's been moments of satisfaction. Shooting for the guard on turn 4, the squad fired down, killed a jet bike, but we passed morale. That's unnerving the Eldar a little bit, the threat on that hillside there. And then coming around, there's no damage been done down here, no damage been done on the Wraith Knight. Just disciplined infantry fire coming out from the compound has wiped out the Warp Spiders and the Harlequins. That's good going from Will's Imperial Guard. There won't be any charges around here. All that's left for the combats is just the Wraith Lord on the hillside. We'll roll it up now. I get 3 attacks. And we need 4s to hit. They've all hit. 2s to kill. The squad has gone. Let's roll to see if Will hits me. He's got 1 hit. He needs a 6 again with a crack grenade. No, so that's the end of the assault squad on the hill. So that wraps up turn 4 for the guard. We'll move on to Eldar turn 4. Right, Eldar turn 4, there's been quite a lot of movement. The Wraith Lord consolidated 2 inches after that combat and then moved another 6, just walking along the edge here. And then the jet bikes have come down 12 from that objective, heading off towards this one. And then the other unit of 3 is moving off that objective and heading off towards this one. Just trying to set ourselves up for turn 5. The empty Wave Serpent has shifted out to the right. He's got a view up the table towards this combat squad on the hillside. And then this transport's picked up the dragons and gone 12 inches up the hill. The Avatar's closing in, and the Wraith Knight has jumped over 12. Such fast movement and agility from that unit, and is bearing down on Commissar Warick, who's busy using the controls on the quad gun. So the Eldar close in, lacking infantry this time, they've been destroyed. And then we'll do shooting now for the Eldar on turn 4. So shooting phase for the Eldar on turn 4. The Wraith Knight fired down, and just the might of that sun cannon has done a lot of damage on Yarrick's command squad. They've been wiped out. Yarrick's down. He's not quite out yet. And the final wound coming in on the quad autocannon. It's been destroyed now. That came in from the twin-link scatter laser on this Wave Serpent. Avatar killed one as he's moving in, and then the rest of the squads here are untouched. One Marine was killed on the hillside from fire from the Wave Serpent, and then the Wraith Lord has just moved a few inches closer towards the objective, just looking to deny that objective from Will's Blood Angel combat squad. So that's the movement done and the shooting done. I'm just going to move on to charges for the Eldar on turn 4. Starts charging in, and then he's made it. Will wanted to fire the melter gun, but the Avatar has a lava body. so melter guns can't do any damage. Oh dear. Just the Eldar are a tricky race to deal with. So the Avatar's in. So Yarrick's down. The Wraith Knights can't charge him. It's just watch. The Wraith Knight looks in amongst the burning skeletons and craters and smouldering mass to see if there's any sign of movement from Warick, because he's not allowed to charge in. Then the Avatar's just piled into combat over the barricade there. So the Avatar's gone in. Will goes first with the being behind the barricade, and there's his roll. Hitting 5s to hit. He hasn't hit at all. So we'll let the Avatar have a go. So we've got Hammer of Wrath first. Failed.
Okay.
5 attacks, +1 for charging is 6 attacks at weapons skill 10. Freeze.
Comparing those.
Oh no. Dear. Oh dear. 2s to wound. Oh dear. 6 with 1 swipe of a sword. That's just
one guy defiant.
That's a summary of it. The sergeant lives. Fancies his chances.
He'll probably fail around though.
So an insane heroism roll is required on a double 1.
Go on. No miler. Of all the ones. Please. No.
An 8, no. So and we'll chase you on initiative.
Forget it. Take him off. 2.
A 3.
Removed.
He's gone.
He's the best sweeping advanced character in the game.
So the Avatar has broken into the compound and he goes an inch, so we'll just shuffle along. So that's combat for the Eldar then on turn 4. The Avatar wiping out his unit, and that is about it. So there's just a few guardsmen left here, and Warick, who is laying down on the ground, who may get up or may not, we'll see. Imperial Guard turn 5. Coming up, could be the last turn of the game. So Warick is down. On a 3+, he will get up. This roll could be a summary of the whole game. A 6. Warick is up. So the game is not over. 1 wound comes off. Warick gets up. And then it'll be interesting to see what Warick does. He's got multiple choices. He could go for an Avatar, or he could go for the Wraith Knight. We'll see what happens. Warick wants to, he's calling one of the squads to join him. None of the squads are interested. Warick's going to have to do it alone. Right, turn 5 for the Imperial Guard and Blood Angels. This combat squad's just moving down, but cautiously, because the Wraith Lord's standing guard there. Then coming around, the command squad here, the company command squad's moved off towards the Wraith Knight. Squad here just sitting on the objective. And then it's just a case of trying to survive. Warick has been joined by this command squad all armed with flamers, which unfortunately are going to have no impact on the Avatar at all. But Warick could do something. We'll see what happens. It's a real final stand in the compound against the monstrous creatures of the Eldar. The other squad's come down off the hillside and again moving off towards the objective there. So he's going to keep going. Going to move on to shooting now for the Imperial Guard on turn 5. Right, shooting for the Imperial Guard on turn 5. The squad at the back fired up with the melt and got a hit and a wound, but saved that with a 5+ invuln. But failed to make a save from a plasma shot coming in and has knocked the Wraith Knight down 1 wound. Warick's squad, a little bit of fire coming through, but hasn't damaged the Avatar. It looks like Warick's going to charge in a final death or glory, suicidal charge into the arms of the awaiting Avatar. So with a bit of cunning, what Will's done is he's charged in. I've issued a challenge, the squad leader's accepted that, and the Avatar has killed that leader. But that is it, that's the end of combat. We can't fight Warick or the other units. So he's effectively blocked the Avatar from getting through to the objective, and he's kept Warick alive. So slick, that's good. But is it enough as we go into the last part of the game here? So that is the end of Imperial Guard turn 5. Just going to move on now to Eldar turn 5, see what happens in potentially what could be the last part or last turn of the game. So the Wraith Lords move round on Eldar movement, just looking to hold the objective, clear out the threat there. These guys are happy to sit on this objective. These jetbikes are moved up and over onto this objective here, and then the Wave Serpent's closing in on the objective in the middle. The Avatar's locked in combat, and this Wave Serpent has just swung around to take on that squad, and the Wraith Knight has jumped around behind the squad and he's going to bear down on the last objective there. It's desperate stuff. So at the stage now really where it's painful to continue the game for the guard. The Sun Cannon fired down and got 18 kills, wiping out that combined squad. And then the Wave Serpent firing through, deactivating the shield, wiped out the other command squad. There's just Warick and his little squad left. That's how it should have ended. That is how it will end. And then here the Wave Serpent firing up, wiped out the Marine squad on the hillside. And then the Wraith Lord firing up with flamers, caused some wounds, but we'll past all of those with the combat squad there. So we've got combats to do now as the Wraith Lord charges in up the hill, and as we have the continuing melee with the Avatar and Commissar Warick. So for combats, the Wraith Lord charged in up the hill and brought down 3 of the Marines. But the melee continues, he hasn't run off, and he managed to get a wound with a crack grenade on the Wraith Lord. So that melee continues. 2 Marines left over there on the hill. And then round the other side, Warick in this combat here, what we're going to do with the Avatar is try and kill his protection, the squad that he has. So we'll do that now. It's 5 attacks with the Avatar, needing freeze. He's got 3 hits, and he's got, only 2 kills. So 2 guardsmen are gone, and that gives Warick now will actually have a chance to strike back. So we've got to see this. Can he get a wound? Can he do any kind of damage on the Avatar? Forced to hit with Warick. It's got 1.
And then it's strength 6.
Forced to wound.
Forced to wound and then invulnerable save. So that's a wound.
He's got a wound. 5+ invuln. Just for pride, it'd be good to get that kill. 5. The invuln save has been passed. Frustration for the guard in this game. Frustration as they encounter the Eldar. Will now knows how James feels when he plays against the Eldar. So we're going to see if the game continues, and it stops. Will made the roll. Will rolled and he's happy that the game is over. So we'll calculate points. So the game ends there. Will's rolled a 2. For victory points then, the Eldar have got Line Breaker, and they've also got first blood, and then for victory points, objective points is 3 points for holding this one, and 3 points for holding this one. And then Will managed to just about get line breaker with the squad just on the hillside there. So final score is 8-1 in our game of Challenge the Scorpion, the first game that we've played. Frustrating game for the Guard. Again, Imperial Guard old codex against the new Eldar codex, so the advantage was with the Eldar there. But it sends a message out to the world. Challenge the Scorpion. But been an enjoyable game. Will's been a good sport, so thanks for watching and tune in next time. Oh, and Will said he also wanted to add that even though he lost, it was satisfying killing the scorpions.